Hello and welcome to another episode of the Dog Savant podcast. My name is Brett Endies. I am a dog trainer based in Los Angeles and sometimes Alaska, and probably in the future more Alaska. Um, this is episode 113. I've been doing this for both podcasting and dog training quite a long time. We took a little break last month. I started putting another episode out, and I'm gonna try to do this once in a while and maybe more consistently if there's more people learning and benefiting from this. So give me your feedback. You can share, rate, subscribe, send me emails, all that good stuff. You can email me at dogtrainingla@gmail.com. And if you're in the Los Angeles area or need remote Zoom online training, you can come to my website, go to my website, dogtrainingla.com. Okay, so we're going to do an episode today on reactivity, mostly leash reactivity, but it can apply to like dogs that overreact to people in the home, guests. I'm going to not shake the table. I'm not going to go too off on a tangent, but I did have a long, difficult time, and it's probably a little bit of a hum still in the background, but I can't. I'm not a technology guy. If you want to help me produce my podcast, reach out to me. Otherwise, I'm sorry. I hope the sound quality is good enough to at least get the content out of it that I'm trying to share with you. Anyway, um, but yeah, so just let me know anything I can do or you can do to help me make this podcast more, uh, I don't know, more applicable to dog owners. Okay, so we're gonna do reactivity. I got a little list. I'm trying to be more organized than I used to be. So pardon me for looking like I'm reading. I'm just got some notes as far as getting some structure so I don't go too off topic. I have ADHD. It's kind of hard for me. I have some other shit going on that makes it hard for me to focus. Actually, my doctor's going to talk with me on Monday. We have an appointment to talk about starting on Vyvanse. If anyone has any, see, I don't even know how to turn off my phone so I don't get calls and texts while I'm doing this to record it. But yeah, we're going to try that to get me better focus and maybe a little bit easier time to filter out the anxiety I have and some of the things, spectrum disorders that some people have shown, even though it's not, what do they say, using it off label, it's not something that they use as a normal um, modality for treatment for the symptoms of that, which is usually anxiety and other related, like ADHD kind of things. But it has been shown in certain studies to be helpful. So I want to see. My brother, who's a psychologist, said it could help me. People who've taken it said, knowing me, it could help me be a little more productive. I have a hard time focusing. I have a hard time staying kind of energetic. I get kind of burst energy throughout the day, usually when I'm working, and then I crash. I want to kind of stay more steady with that. And it's just the nature of just kind of the wiring I have, which can be very good. I'm hyper vigilant. I understand how a dog's brain works, and it can be unfiltered and so on, but very black and white in its thinking, but it can be a little tough. So that's me revealing what I have going on. Also, I'm a little frustrated. I've had a lot of clients just not being able to follow through. Me expressing that I don't know. Again, there's a point where after many lessons, and you're saying to do something, and in front of you, they completely don't, or their emotions, or they get defensive over what just has to change when it comes to their dog. It's just how it is. Sorry, I'm looking at like my Windex bottle right here. I don't know. It's just it's sitting here. I don't know. Maybe I should look at the camera, right? So this has been tough, right? And it's happening, I think, a combination of California people. I'm sorry, but they are a little bit difficult. They're a little bit busier, a little bit more entitled. And not everyone, so I don't think I'm generalizing, but more. And I think I am just seeing more people because I get more volume of clients down here. There's just more people with dogs in a concentrated area. Um, but yeah, that's been tough. I've had to give refunds. I've had someone recently also that I was going to work with. They were referred by someone I know, and they saw a post I made about wanting to try starting comedy, and I just joked about how the woke mob and the they them pink purple hair type people are going to be waiting out in the parking lot to beat me up for the things I'm going to say on stage because I'm not really woke. I just kind of just for the sake of being funny or honest. I don't speak in this weird way that people demand you to accommodate things that they feel their mind's eye makes it real, tells them it's real, whatever. So that is a oh thing that's kind of unique to places like L.A., New York, Chicago, San Francisco, Seattle. It's Boulder, Colorado. Most of Colorado now, unfortunately. Um, It's just the thing. That's also why I'm in Alaska. People there are easier to work with. They're more down to earth. They're more sincere. They don't give me excuses why they can't put 20, 40 minutes into walking and exercising their dogs daily. They're beyond that. It's just training stuff. And they usually can in perspective because they have a reasonable and rational and realistic relationship with animals, because people in Alaska have to live amongst them in the wild, and they hunt and they fish and for subsistence, and just that's the lifestyle and culture there. They understand that a dog's a dog, so they don't give me as much grief as why are we telling the dog what to do? Why do we have to put a collar on it and so on? I don't get that. In California, it's always, why can't my dog sleep in my bed? Why? It's because it's gone too far. That's why. Yeah, recently I had another person. We were on our last lesson, and they want a refund for the last lesson after I've given them so much free phone consult time and help. And I even after the end, I was like, basically the dog was listening to me, listening to the male of the household, but wasn't listening to the female. And I was expressing, because you're still letting the dog be all over the furniture, you're letting it follow you, you're bathing it. Maybe not always. I'm not saying you're not doing training, but you're not being as consistent as your dog is needing this right now, because you're still seeing symptoms that when other people handle the dog, they don't do that. And then got a little like kind of defensive, tunes me out, and then I reached in and gave the dog a correction, and I get a, why'd you do that? I'm like, because you're not doing it. That's why. And then it got weird, and then I says, look, I'm having this struggle a lot, and it's only I'm getting this frustrated being in California with, I don't know, again, is it the people here have a mindset, they're a little, they see dogs as humans, or they have a thing where they have to have it their way, or they're just too stressed to engage something that's a little different than their wheelhouse of what they're normally interpreting in their lives or with their dogs. But it makes my job challenging, and they try to make me feel bad, and they, even like the way it was handled was quite rude. It's like I even said, I go, I don't think you're going to find someone who's going to like literally cry over the outcome of your situation for your dog. Even psychologists. I got a psychologist. He was a good guy, but he could give two shits. I'm down here in California, know nothing, barely, gave me a referral, and when they didn't work out, it was so sad. Too bad. Sorry. Like, not like how you doing. I know you've been having a hard time, and I was kind of your rock, and no, and that's a psychologist, right? That's why my brother's a good psychologist, and he's stressed out all the time because he cares like I do. That's how he is. I know how he is with his clients, and they fail him too, and that's sad because he gets disappointed. And I say to my clients, go, I shouldn't care about the outcome of your dog, or we're in class and there's 8 people there. I shouldn't be watching something you should be seeing with your own dog when I'm watching the entire class, and I'm usually handling my dog too. And it's not a better than them, because a lot of these mindseted people like, what do you think you're so good? I don't think, I'm just telling you the reality. This is it. Look at my life, my dogs. They're calm. You don't hear chaos in the background. Everything, you see my dogs out with client sessions. And if you practice what I preach, you'll have that too. I have a track record. Many people, and I'm not saying every client does this, but there's a high percentage of it compared to when I started as a dog trainer, and a higher percentage when I'm here in Los Angeles, California. Well, why don't you leave? I established something here because I hosted a show. I need to make a living. I have bills. I have taxes. You want to hear more reality? Let's get deep here. It's a podcast. Fuck it. Um, I'm in tax debt. I'm in SBA loan debt because COVID closed my business for a year and a half. I had a mother. We'll do many podcasts about this if we're really going to open Pandora's box. I had a mother of my child who I devoted my life to try to systematically ruin my life financially, logistically, any relationship I try to have, and the relationship I have with my daughter, which I still am semi alienated from her as we speak, even though I put so much time and love and care into this. And you can see photos and videos of her and I just joyous until she became a teenager, and her mother just put. I'm not going to get too into it because I'm going to get upset, and it's not. We're going to talk about reactivity soon, guys. Trust me. Yeah, I was upset earlier today about it. That's why I'm just, whatever. But um, yeah. So, what was my point? I'm sorry. Um, let's just go to reactivity. Fuck it. Anyway, yeah, I care. I put a lot of effort into this thing that I do. I've basically decimated every element of my life because I focus so much on working 80, 100-hour work weeks, in between just answering calls and texts and doing. Why? Because I need to make a living. I was a single dad. I had to survive. I had no family support, no one looking out for us. No, I mean, I had no option. And I wanted to share what I thought at the time because there wasn't as many dog trainers in the world. I have advice that works. I'm not the only one, but there was good advice, and I think I have a way of presenting it with clients at least where it does make sense and it does work. It does get applied, and the dogs are not worse off. I'm not beating them. I'm not forcing them. I'm not manipulating them. It's all conditioning and understanding how instincts work and timing and relationships. Not not so much a pack, but dogs do follow a certain reliance on our guidance, and they need that sometimes even just how to get around the house for the everyday. And I teach that, and it's successful with most people. But sometimes and lately it's been harder than ever. I don't know, is it election year? People are getting wackier and harder to do this, and making me feel bad and giving my life an inconsistency. Like, I got to make a living, right? I can't worry about refunds, and I have someone scheduled for a Saturday, which is a very busy time. Weekends are busiest for me. They cancel. I don't care if it's like 5 days in advance. I get booked weeks in advance, and it's why, because I said that I don't believe in fantasy thinking, because that's, if you do it with dogs, it destroys them. You people never realize, like, that someone, and I'm not coming from a messiah, one of these ego narcissistic shithead trainers that you see out there. Oh, hey guys, I'm gonna do number top 10 this is it. You know that's not me. If anyone knows me, I'm gonna be talking to you like I talk to anyone, but I'm also gonna share with you truth. And the truth is, if you're not doing something you're supposed to, if your dog is a wreck, your dog isn't listening, your dog is overreacting to a life that you're providing everything for them within, um, I have to say something, even just as an advocate for dogs, if it's in front of me. And too many people these days, they hear the messenger, and instead of saying, you know what, you're right, I'm going to make an effort, they get defensive, dismissive, and they make me feel bad when I'm just caring probably more than some of them do about their own outcome or their dog's well-being, because they think it's all fun and games, like everything, and they let it all go to shit. I'll leave it at that. Let's talk about reactivity. Okay, so sorry guys. All right, so um, we got, well, I think we talked about enough of my life. Let's start reactivity. I have a list. I have things. Oh, let's update them on this. I think we're updated. So, reactivity. How does it manifest? Why do certain dogs develop it? Right? Why is it that my dog was socialized? I've made my dog meet new people and dogs, and now when it sees them on a leash, they lunge and they react. Well, in some cases, it starts with just a dog that is hypervigilant, too alert. So when they see something new, they want to rush to it and react to it and get overstimulated or startled, if you will, when they first see it or it gets close to them. So I'll get close. I'll get close to the mic too. I shouldn't back away. You probably didn't hear all that, but yeah. So um, and then it's also just, and this is where the social thing happens, is like, oh, my dog, when it sees another dog, I let it run out in front of me and it meets the dog. And it's like, seeing what happens is when they're puppies, they don't feel things are all serious. Like when you're a kid, you didn't care about bills and shit. You just lived, right? And once they get older, that's why reactivity calls usually, I'd say it starts, I mean, I can get young, but usually about like 9, 10 months, 1 year, and then up to about 2 years. I'll see them. So yeah, they were fine on a leash. They just get excited with people, but not as much, because people don't create a competitive, I'm going to get in your space, sniff your butt, you're going to sniff my butt, all this stuff that they do when they're kind of, in a way, they're controlling space and testing each other's kind of, threshold for, control over another. Why? Because that's what they're doing when they're playing, if they're going to engage, or they're going to kind of get in each other's spaces that might be a little personal, that they have to trust they can do each other, and there's no intent other than a little fun in games or exploration. So, um, trying to use words, trying to articulate. So again, if your dog, what happens is they get overstimulated and they get frustrated. And the problem is that a lot of times people use these harnesses, they use collars, even a training collar, but it falls low, it pulls back, and you get an opposition reflex. And you get the tension that makes them even more frustrated. And you're trying to physically control a dog while it's really a mental thing. They're getting overstimulated. They're too reactive to what's going on. And then as they get older, or as a, if they're a rescue dog, they learn to, had an incident with another dog. But even then, you should build them back up if it's your puppy. And if it wasn't like, they ended up in the vet, whatever, it's usually pretty easy to get a dog that got checked, usually when they were a puppy, from an older dog, to get back and kind of learn boundaries, or learn how to, respond in a more socially appropriate way through commands, intervention, and all that. So that's how that kind of can happen. And that's why people say, hey, Brett, my dog goes to daycare. My dog plays with other dogs. Off leash, the same. Even the dog that we reacted to, if we take the leashes off or they're not behind a fence or in a car or in a window or I'm holding it or near an owner, um, they're fine because there's not that restriction. You're not getting the dog might not always play socially. There's other podcasts I'll do about like body language and how dogs might seem like, oh, they're not aggressive when they play, but they're not letting dogs behind them and things. And that's again, the leash doesn't let any of that fight or flight or ability to navigate the orientation the other dogs take on them and proximity, so they react. They're more likely to react with the leash. Okay, we got a backside of this envelope I took notes on. Good places. Well, first, what you want to do, right? So, what's the solution? Is to uh, teach your dog how to focus on you on the walks. Use the right equipment. You have to get something that does not trigger the opposition reflex, and that can be from a flat collar fitting high, a slip lead. Most dogs I work with a Star Mark collar, which is a plastic pinch, or a Herm Sprenger, which is a traditional pinch. You want it fitting pretty snug. Most people, and I show them how to fit it. You sure? Isn't that tight? That's how it fits. You don't wear it all the time, but they wear it when it's training and a lot of exercises in the house, walking, place training, things like that. Um, so then you start the walks with less vigilance. You can't let them see the leash, put your shoes on, and then a poop bag grab, and then they're already seeing themselves and getting that anxiety state before you even go out the threshold. And when you cross the threshold, it's a transition, an environmental transition tied to something where they've learned to be high alert, hyper vigilant. It's not going to help matters. You need to do place training. You need to get your dog calm or hanging out at your side. Calm is how you start the walks, and you use the heel command. I have a lot of videos out there. I have one from Halo that's on. It's a very good way. If anyone needs it, I will send it to you personally. It shows how to teach the heel command. You want them focusing at your side, and you want their attention inside their body, not outside of it. Once they're thinking ahead or all around them and scanning, it's like they feel this hyper alertness that can create that startle and that recreation of the same habit and reaction that's happened, usually over and over if it's become a problem where you're starting to deal with it. So you want to create that. Plus, you want to add other commands: a strong sit, a strong down. And again, these are not physical commands; they're physical states to achieve physical commands to achieve a mental state. That's what commands should be, even just for listening in real life situations. Your dog's here sit, your dog hears heel, down, place, come. Their mind kind of cues into it. That program runs, and that's through a lot of leash time, a lot of consistent, conditioning with the treats, e-collar work, different testing of different tools that may or may not be best for your dog, but generally not positive only and not harnesses and things that actually will. Oh, my dog uses a no pull harness or a nose lead. You're not addressing it. You're not getting your dog's attention or correcting them. You're creating a physical response to more of a mental issue. And when your dog is deeply focused, you're in control. Believe it or not, they would like to let you deal with it first. And they're focusing at your side on a command, and their attention is on something that's, again, inside their body, not ahead of them. And it filters the sensory overload that happens, which is what reactivity and all these other overreactive behaviors in dogs comes from, at least in part. There's a conditioning and there's an instinct. These are both things you have to address. You have to be thorough. So you phase in that. It's going to take a while. Also being around other dogs, pack walks. That's why I do a supplemental group class with clients that I wish they would come more to, that I bitched about earlier. But yeah, they would come to classes more, so that they can be around other like-minded people with dogs that are structured, kind of like children go to school. They're structured. They learn to socialize both while they're playing. But for some kids, it's better to just have them side by side, focusing on their assignments, which is commands, walking, doing side by side obedience. There's other classes that do it. Make sure it's balanced methods. You should be pretty good to go if it's in your area. Recall drills, because you want to phase out. Well, that's good. My dog's listening. My dog comes, stays at my side calmly, can pass by other dogs. We've done the heel. How do we get to a regular walk? You want to do other type of drills. So you want to do free walking drills and recall drills. Sorry, I'm petering out here. I don't have anything to drink. I'm parched. So the recall drills, you want, or even like the free walk drills, you let some leash out, a 6-foot leash or a 30-foot leash, and as far as you let them go, let them see the dog, because they're learning to acclimate and they've desensitized to reacting, and now they're kind of just neutralized and just observing and kind of learning a better way to absorb dogs when they're coming or near them. And now what you're going to do is you're going to see, I don't know how to shut off these texts. I put on airplane mode, but the texts keep coming. So anyway, So you do that where like the dog learns to get a head look, and then you use like a come command or a heel to get him in front of you or at your side, and then focus back on you. So you're teaching them how to kind of be around a dog without that overstimulated kind of response, because you filtered it with the heel and the sit and other commands. But reality is you have to phase into, hopefully for most dogs, into where you don't need to intervene, and they still can now have a better response, and the reactivity is curbed. Not curbed, it's you rehabilitated it, if you want to use that term. Some people hate that term. I don't mind it. And just phase into more distance, more difficult dogs, more engagement with dogs. But just you got to be refereeing. You want to go slow. It could take months. It could take a year, depending on how severe this is. The younger the dog, the better, always. Let's see. Yeah, I think I got all that stuff. Okay, so we're gonna wrap up here. This is 20 minutes. Go a little longer. Good. Thank you for hearing me out earlier. I did want to share so you know a little bit more about me and what motivates me in life, and where sometimes it is difficult. You see me in the dog realm, which I'm happiest. I love working with dogs and people. I just wish they would sometimes give me a little bit more of what their dog needs, not to appease me in any way, but to actually help their dog, because of the reality I'm sharing with them. Their dogs, it's pretty damn serious to them. It could be life or death, even though we know it's not to a dog. It's all that matters is their reality. We have to engage them as such. Don't forget, please rate, review, share, tell a friend, give me feedback, ask questions. I'll try to do more podcasts. It's just hard for me. Maybe the Vyvanse will help get on track. Maybe you'll see me do like 100 episodes in the next 2 months. You never know. If you're anyone who can help me with some of this audio stuff, if any of this production, I don't know how to put it on Spotify or iTunes. I used to have someone do it for me, but I just don't. I don't really think I have the budget now. But yeah, so that's if anyone knows or anyone can help me. If there's any kind of hum, I apologize. I'm going to keep trying to make the audio quality better. I do have these cool pieces of equipment here, but it only works if it works. And I did change these chords. Maybe it's a little better, but I think it's still there. So we'll get it better. But just hear the words, not how it's presented or the quality of the audio, if that's the case. Yeah, just give me your feedback. I appreciate if anyone has any questions, interested in being a guest, I'd be open to it. I do have another microphone, and if someone can figure out, we could even do like a Zoom type of episode. Plenty of people do that. Thank you so much. And follow my social media at the Dog Savant and Brett Endy's Dog Trainer on Facebook. Have a good night. Good day.